Okay, so for this project, the book that I read was Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and the lens which I interpreted it through was a Marxist lens, which talks about social class structure and the conflict between social classes. And so I developed a theme by reading the book and looking at it, interpreting it through this lens. And so this is my theme for the book Frankenstein. The possession of power and glory is a deceiving and tempting desire. Those who attempt to put themselves above others will eventually be punished for their actions. A hunger for power and social class dominance leads only to pain and destruction in one's life. Therefore, as a society, we should work towards equality between the classes, discouraging those who try to put themselves above others. Mary Shelley expresses this theme through her use of symbolism, using Victor to represent the dominant class and the monster to represent the subordinate class. And so I've broken this theme up into three different points that I'm going to go over now in this video. And so point one is Victor's main and only focus in the beginning parts of the story is to gain power and social class dominance. He neglected every other part of his life, which shows how he only cared for gaining power and social class dominance in his life. And this is why he treats the monster with such disdain and hatred. Um, it's pretty clear to see that the motivations behind creating a new life form was for him to gain power, and that can clearly be seen on page 43 in this quote made by Victor when he's thinking about the possibility of success in creating a new life form. The quote says, "A new species would bless me as its creator and source. Many happy and excellent natures would owe their being to me." End quote. And so we can see here that what gets him happy and excited for success is that the new species he creates would owe everything to him. They'd worship him. They'd owe their existence to him because he created them, and that's what makes him happy and what pushes him forward to want to succeed in creating a new life. And he wants to have power over the social class. He wants to be put above them and looked at as more valuable and important. And that just shows that that clearly shows why he wants to create this life form is to gain power and social class dominance. And I put in there that I think it's important to show how he neglected every other thing in his life because it shows how this desire has really consumed and overcome him. It's not like creating this life form to gain this power and control. It's just one goal in his life. It's not one of many goals, but it's the only goal in his life. And I think that can be seen on the next page 44 when he's talking about how the summer months pass by and he's neglecting everything in his life. He's neglecting his friends, his family, even his health. He's fully invested and overcome and trying to create this life form so that he can have the power and control over it and be lifted up as higher and more valuable and important than them. And so I think that's an important thing to bring up. Uh, However, this brings me to my second point because what he's trying to do is something that he'll have to pay for later on. And so my second point is this hunger for power and control eventually led to Victor being punished through many tragedies in his life. This happened because the desire to put oneself above others is an evil and is an evil and inappropriate thought. It's something that we should not be striving to do in our lives. All people and all social classes are created equal and they should be treated as such. Those who try to put themselves above others, their intentions are evil, and that's something that we should discourage and not allow to happen in the world today. And so I look through the story and I see how Victor treats the monster. He treats him with hatred and disdain. He looks down upon him. He doesn't view him as an equal, and he really shows absolutely no respect to the monster. He just as soon as he creates him, he abandons him and leaves him off with absolutely nothing. He doesn't care for him or show any respect or love at all to him in any way. And because of that, and because of this attitude that Victor's had, and because of the desires he's had to gain power and social class dominance, um, he's gonna pay. He's gonna pay for those things that he's done. And eventually, when Victor decides that he's not going to create the monster a companion, uh, the monster has this to say to Victor to really kind of show the error in the ways of Victor, and to really show that he's going to pay for the things that he's done. And so the quote says, "Man, You may hate, but beware. Your hours will pass in dread and misery, and soon the bolt will fall which must ravish from your happiness forever. Are you to be happy while I grovel in the intensity of my wretchedness? You can blast my other passions, but revenge remains. Revenge henceforth, dearer than light or food. I may die, but first you, my tyrant and tormentor, shall curse the sun that gazes on your misery. Beware, for I am fearless and therefore powerful. I will watch with the willingness of a snake, that I may sting with its venom. Man, you shall repent the injuries you inflict. End quote. And so here we see all the bad things that Victor's done to the monster. The monster calls Victor his tyrant and tormentor, and he brings up a great question. He said, "Why should you be happy, Victor, when me, the monster, have to live in misery and sadness?" And that's because Victor thinks he's better than the monster. He thinks he's above. He thinks he's more powerful, and that shows the evilness and the wrong in Victor's ways and in his thinking. And so the monster says, I'm going to make your life miserable. You're going to pay for these things that you've done to me. You're going to pay for your actions and your evil thoughts and desires. And so the monster goes after Victor, and he makes him pay. We see Victor's younger brother William is killed, and then the Justine is accused of the murder, so she's executed. So right off the bat, two of Victor's family members are dead because of his evil actions, and so he's really paying for and suffering because of the actions and desires that he's had earlier on in the book. And so, in an attempt to climb the social ladder and to put himself above others and be better and higher up and greater than others, Victor actually ended up being punished, not only to stop him from putting himself above others, but he was punished and so much was taken away from him to the point where he ended up being put below those he was trying to be above. Bringing Victor down his social class from where he began just really illustrates the wrong in what he was trying to do in the first place. Victor, at the end of his life, he has nothing left really. All of his family members are dead because of the tragedies and misery he's faced. Of course, because of the monster going after him, because of the evil things he did to the monster. And so, this quote by Victor towards the end of his life really kind of just sums up just how things went wrong for him and how things are so much worse now for him than they were before any of this ever even started. And so the quote says, "They were dead, and I lived. Their murder also lived, and to destroy him, I must drag out my weary existence." End quote. So here, Victor has nothing left. His family's gone. They're dead, and he is left in misery and pain. He describes his existence as a weary existence, and the only reason he lives is to try to get revenge on the monster. Other than that, he has no point to live, nothing to live for, no one to love. He has nothing. His life is now, to him, basically pointless, except to get revenge on the monster who was getting revenge on him. And so it all goes back to the original desires and evil thoughts that Victor had of trying to put himself above others and gain power and social class dominance and to rule over others. And because of trying to do that, he was punished to the point where, in his desire to gain more, by the end of it, he was left than less, basically nothing. He was left with much less than he had to start off. If he would have shown humility and been humble and viewed himself as equal to others from the beginning of the story, he never would have been punished like this and brought down and left with absolutely nothing. His family would still be there. He'd still have things, and he would still have joy and happiness in his life. But because he tried to put himself above others and gain more, absolutely, basically everything he cared about in his life was taken away. And so, in conclusion, possession of power and glory is a deceiving and tempting desire. Those who attempt to put themselves above others and gain power and glory and social class dominance will eventually be punished for their actions because of their evil ways and brought down below those they try to put themselves above. And as a result, we need to learn to treat all social classes as equals and to discourage those who try to gain social class dominance and put themselves above others, but rather be as one, view each other as equals, and learn from the mistakes that